Well, I don't know how to do a normal one, but kind of just get into it.
What?
I don't know how to.
See, she already forgot. These 70 episodes, 72
No,
episodes.
I mean like the regular like welcome back.
Welcome back, guys, to the
No.
cousin.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, started it. I'm starting like that. Welcome back, guys, to the cousin
Connection
podcast.
It's been a minute, you guys.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. We're finally back in the regular studio today,
I missed
and we got a guest with us today. You know, first time.
I feel like waving to the camera like yeah, man, we're here.
We got Hassan Feels, aka wasn't feeling myself.
Yeah. Well.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, sorry about that. This whole time we were recording off of the cameras, but I'll make it work. Okay, I'll make it work. Where were we at? We were talking about Vancouver, and you moved there. It's not melanated. You were there for basketball, no?
Yeah, I was there for ball.
So like all these things you were doing up until like 5 years ago, it was for basketball related.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then when did that switch happen?
I was approaching my last year in university, and man, I think like every man, I think by the time they turn like 24 or 25, they hit that TSN turning point where you're like, yo, listen, I got to figure something out.
Yeah.
And I think finding a purpose was important.
Yeah.
And a lot of my peers as well, they think like, especially when you've already done so many years of dedicating it to the game, you're like, I gotta go play basketball professionally.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought to myself, at the time I had already tried stand up like a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but then also at that time I was doing a lot of things half-ass. I was doing school half-ass. I was doing work half-ass. I was doing I was doing YouTube videos. I was doing that half-ass. I was doing work. Did I mention work?
Yeah.
Everything, relationships, everything half-assed.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me put my eggs in one basket for once or for the first time in a while.
Right.
And that's when I just like, okay, it was my last year in university, and literally a month before the season, I told my coach, I said, listen, man, I'm out of here.
Really?
Yeah, man. I told my, like a month before the season, I said, I'm out. I think I'm just going to go try to do comedy. I think something in my mind was like, yo, if I could dedicate 5 years to something I could do for the next 30, 40, then I should be in a good place, you know? Because I've had cousins who've done 5 years in engineering.
You pull the J. Cole
thing,
basically.
And then after they get the job and they're just like, I don't even want to do this, you know? So I'd rather make my own bed and lay in it as opposed to...
You don't want to have that regret being like, oh, what if?
Yeah, that one's pain, man.
Yeah.
That one's pain. So I was like, okay, let's do this.
Do you feel like moving to BC and being like, one of the only black guys there gave you the confidence to make this huge like change in career?
Yes, man. I felt like I felt like I was very accepted, not just because I was a black person, but I thought I realized the manners that I carried, whether it be from hanging out in the ends or how my mother brought me up, and it was well received by my peers, people, the family that I have now in BC. I started off as strangers, and now we're just like this. So that's where the confidence came from. I think that was the source of it all, really.
And speaking of family, how did your family react when you made that decision?
When I went to BC?
Not only to BC, but making that full-time decision to go comedy full-time.
Yeah.
My mother was like, yeah, man. When I wanted to go to BC, my mom was like, do what you want. My mom has never held me back in terms of like anything I wanted to pursue.
Wow.
W mom right there.
We love the progressive thinking.
It's actually very funny, man. I even and with comedy too.
Yeah.
My mom was just like, just be mindful of like the man that you want to be, really.
Yeah.
And then just be dedicated full force. You know what I mean? Because I think finding a purpose sometimes is like that's the luxury of life, really, man. Some people are just really. I'm like, I've done things idle. I've done jobs. And maybe 6 months into it, I'm like,
it's not for me.
Yeah, I go already 1 month into it. I'm figuring out how to cut corners already. So in this game, there isn't really any corners to cut if you're in it for the long run. So that's where I feel.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of like similar to what happened to my sister. I don't know. I just want to relate it to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I'm surprised, because when my sister's like, oh, I want to do YouTube full time. Of course, she like showed at that point when she made that decision, like she had already had like a little bit of a
She already had a
something to show for,
following.
like a following. But it's something different. It's not, you don't see that in a community. Like how many
Right.
other Habesha or like East African comedians do we know in our community? Right?
We don't.
Yeah. Do you know any? Like maybe there's some that we should know.
No, there are a few, a few that like even when I was getting started early on, like even on the show that I'm doing in this weekend,
Yeah.
there's a Habesha comic. His name is Black Zeus. He's like he's from Hamilton, but he's Ethiopian Greek, like Greek Orthodox.
Black
Ethiopian.
Zeus. That makes sense.
Black Zeus, yeah. So hence the Zeus.
Yeah.
And so aside from him, other East African comics. There's some that I know in America when I was first getting on just through online stuff. I remember this guy Gergish.
I remember him.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw he was doing like I saw like video impersonations, but I also saw he was doing like stand up storytelling and
Yeah.
and even like spoken word at some point. So I was like, oh, okay, like there is a market for it, and there's people out here doing it. You just gotta be. If you got your eyes peeled, you might find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, so that was that you made that decision 5 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, like, I think I've actually like somewhat known about you in those 5 years because you kind of like
Really?
blew up because when did that video come out? The one we were referencing earlier. I don't know if it was we were recording at the time, but the
Friends with Benefits.
Like,
So-
how many years ago was that?
So that was about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But I was doing before doing stand up. I was still doing content creation, but not out of like for the sake of becoming like famous per se. I was working / volunteering for one of my friends' basketball youth basketball programs. It started off as Dean Up Athletics, and we were working with like Muslim youth, particularly in priority neighborhoods, and then eventually it turned into TBA, which was a Toronto Basketball Association, and like higher level non-Muslims, whatever. We were competing at a very high level. Yeah. And so I was working with these kids day in and day out, and I always loved the idea. Even when I was playing basketball, I was bringing my camera around, creating vlogs, memories, just to capture the essence of our youth. And so what happened was I was just pulling. I'd bring my camera around with these kids. We go to tournaments, AU tournaments in the States, play in
in the States too.
In the States, and like in France too. There was a tournament in France, a world tournament that we compete in like for every year, and we did it for about like 3 years. It was hella fun. Yeah. And so I would bring my camera around. Yeah. And we just make vlogs. Essentially, that's what I was doing: vlogs and little skits here and there, just to capture it, make it like a digital time capsule, essentially. Yeah. So that's what I was doing, essentially.
Yeah, that's when you mentioned like you were doing YouTube, sort of.
Exactly. So I was like, I wasn't even the idea of monetizing off of it was like the last thing on my mind, really. I was just, but then again, when you're spending 5 hours editing a video,
I know,
when
bro.
you should be studying for a midterm.
You're like, this better make me some money.
Yeah, you're like, damn, where does the balance, man?
Right.
Okay, and then so that's essentially how you kind of like already had a bit of a not fall, but like your name was already out there. So when you came out saying you're doing comedy, like it was kind of you already had people who were willing to support you, basically.
Exactly, and I think the way I came out of the closet as a as a comic, I was
a different video.
We might just have to use that for our title. I'm just kidding.
The way it came out was like I guess I was a kind of a closet stand-up comedian in the sense that I would the first year all I cared about was like being good. You know, so I would never tell people, "Yo, come and see me. I'm gonna be at this show." I would just be popping up to every spot, trying to get as much time as I can, craft these jokes, and then maybe it wasn't until, and then the second year I was like, okay, let me get better, but also let me figure out how to get paid. You know, like how to get a headlining spot at some clubs, and how to build from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes worth of material, and then also being funny in every single. There's so many different checkpoints that I was trying to pass within the years of starting comedy, and so by the time I touched my third or fifth year, or third to fourth year, I was like, I'm starting to find my voice a little
Yeah.
bit more. And that's when I was like, you know what? Let me tell the people to come. Let me tell my people to come see me doing. Because more times I would just be like, yo, this is where I was, instead of here's where I am. Come and see me.
Yeah.
And that's when I maybe came back from Toronto, from Vancouver back to Toronto.
That's when I noticed it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And did you have a mentor in this time that helped you, like, taught you the ways, basically, when you started comedy? Because, like, if you're not part of that world, you don't know that, like, you have to put in all those hours and, like, where to go, what clubs are best, that kind of thing. So did you have anyone who was kind of guiding you in that time?
I think proximity, really. If proximity is everything.
Yeah.
And so I just hung around friends that were doing comedy. Just being up, man. Like it's a Jamaican proverb. It's like literally like, if you want to be hot, stand close to the fire. And so I go around. You can hang around people that were either hot, you know, whenever like big time comics would come through the headline in Vancouver, whether it be at Yuck Yucks or the Comedy Mix. I just pull up, show face, and just study the game. I'd buy a ticket just to watch them, even though I was a comic, or even some comedy managers, the comedy clubs, they don't even know you. So
because you never know when the opportunity will show itself.
Exactly. So I showed up to I'd go watch like Roy Woods Jr. on a weekend for four shows straight. Godfrey would come through. But it wasn't until like maybe in this last like 2 years, one of my best friends in comedy, and again, I think he is one of my favorite comics. Dino Archie is one of my favorite comics that I know face to face. He's
he opened up for Hassan Minhaj recently.
Yes, man. He's my favorite comic of all time that I've been with him, the proximity of. Like he's for the low road. He's in for the long game, and I don't think there's anybody that enjoys comedy as much as him, as I've seen it with my own eyes. I think people might get lost. Like, obviously we'll love the Chappelles and we'll love the Kevin Harts through production or whatever. But from to learn things on a tangible level, you need to engage with somebody on the day-to-day, or even have some sort of like a dialogue. And that's somebody I hung out with and I talked to a lot.
And that was like in the recent.
That was during the pandemic.
During pandemic.
Him and I got well acquainted during the pandemic.
Is he from the city?
He's from Fresno, California, but then his comedy journey led him to Vancouver, where he where he's been rooted for a while. But he touches the road all the time. Yeah,
clearly, because he was. I think he's not only opening. Was he like he was going around with Hassan Minhaj?
Yeah, so he opened for Hassan Minhaj in Vancouver, and then again in Toronto. So and then he might have been in Montreal and doing his own thing. But
I've seen him before, but I just can't remember exactly where. But I've heard of him at that point.
We also started a podcast at some point. Yeah, we did a podcast. I only survived like 3 episodes. I only survived 3 episodes or less than that, and then I my journey took me elsewhere because I ended up leaving the country to Sudan. But he still keeps it going on, and he has a tour called like the Toxic But Safe. Yeah, I guess
we saw his stand up, so we know what you mean.
Exactly. You know what's funny? A lot of people on Twitter were kind of like giving my guy. At least women, they were giving him some grief on Twitter. I heard from
Were they?
They were, but it was like Arab women, you know, like they were like, oh my god, he was so, you know.
Honestly, you know, you're doing something right if like half the audience doesn't agree with you, or like it's, you know.
I think so. I think so. I think there's. I like the idea of perspective, man. Like the way I look at it sometimes is like, listen, man. My litmus test is like, as long as Black Muslim women aren't like up in flames, I'm like, all right, man. You know what I mean? But if white women are upset, I say, yo, let them, man.
Really?
Yeah, man, let them.
Have you ever like had a joke where it just completely bombed and you? Actually, I saw your story.
Yeah, man. Literally, like I did a half baked joke on TikTok where I was just like, yo, listen, man. Yeah. Therapy.
Oh, that one, right? That one, yes.
And I was just like, oh man, therapy, man. Like, you're not better than me just because you go to therapy. And I wasn't saying like, listen, man, I wasn't against mental health, but there is like, in the last 2 years, there's been some sort of umbrella branding around therapy, where it's like, you're not okay if you don't go to therapy. Yeah. And the way I saw it, I was like, listen, man, your grades in mental health are low. You know, which is it's not the nicest thing to say, but you know, but if my grades are high,
Yeah.
you know, leave me alone.
Exactly.
You know.
By the way, guys, this video is sponsored by BetterHelp.
But no, people were really up in arms about it, man.
I
And
saw.
and the
Yeah.
funny thing about it is because my Instagram had been like, my Instagram was disabled at the time.
Yeah.
You gotta get
So-
into that too, bro.
Yeah, my Instagram was disabled at the time, so I was in the gulag. So a lot
Yeah.
of people were coming across this video and thinking like, this guy is trying to be a comedian. This is his style. No, it was it was one of those videos you just like you throw it up and
Yeah.
you realize it did, but you know what?
Yeah.
Again, that litmus test, the people who got the joke
Yeah.
got it, and the
Yeah.
people who didn't. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it was a lot of people with less pigmentation than I did. Like,
Less
you know what I mean?
melanated-
Less
melanated.
melanin than I. A lot less melanated than I, man. They got the joke, fam. What if I told you I was in Etobicoke
Yeah.
that weekend, and I was approaching an Uber, and my Uber driver his name was Abdel Fattah. I'm walking towards the Uber, and the man's face
He lit up.
was lit up.
Oh my God, he recognized you?
Yeah, man. I got into the thing. He goes, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Alaikum salam." He goes, "Man, I think I seen you somewhere, man. I saw you're talking about mental health, man."
No.
And he was laughing. Him and I are laughing about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is that I wasn't getting at people who go to therapy and just like, just for the record, I'm not getting at people with mental health. I understand,
Yeah.
like
At the end of the day, it's a joke.
It's
you
a
know?
joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. It wasn't that. I'm a big fan of therapy. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I've went.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done it before. It wasn't
It's
for me.
not for everyone.
It's not for everybody. And
I
like,
think-
you can sub out whenever you want.
Yeah, like go if it benefits you, and if it doesn't, hopefully you find another means of healing. You know?
And that's the one thing, like, just to kind of get more into like the art of comedy is like everyone doesn't realize that, like, in order for you to get that joke, like that like finished joke, there's so much work that goes into it, so many
Yeah.
like open mics that you have to go to and like work it out. And people, when they see the first time you put a joke out there, like, you don't know how it's going to be reacted, you don't know how it's going to work, you don't know what the timing is yet, and then you have to keep working on it to make it work and make it something that's more palatable for like the general audience, right? So they might have just seen something that, you know, you were kind of just working on, and then maybe when you see the final product and be like, oh, okay, you know, I can see where he was going with it.
Exactly. And that's what it is, man. It's a journey, man. And if
Yeah.
you're going online to like find, if you're online on the internet in general looking
Yeah.
for integrity, listen, log out, man. Log out.
Straight up.
Integrity does not exist on the internet. Everything is performative. There were people that were DMing me, telling me, "Yo, drop out, go kill yourself, man."
What?
Yeah, man. It got that. I'm like, yo, therapy is really necessary, man. And
Those people are the ones who need it, bro.
and some of those people were posting black squares. You know what I mean? And they thought they ended racism. You posted a black square on the internet and you thought you ended racism? Well, like,
For real though, man. It's
That-
all performative.
it's
That's
all
what you have to
performative,
know.
man.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to find a reason to. And I'm not to say that I'm the offensive police, like trying to get everybody
No,
triggered.
right.
But the thing
Yeah.
is that, yeah, man, the world is like there's so many perspectives.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like, now they're trying to, at least I don't know if we want to get into this, but politically, like,
What
in
you
the
trying to-
with the Western idea, they're trying to push one perspective so hard that almost even you have like the slightest bit of a difference, like what we're seeing with Qatar recently, they're gonna they're gonna make you look like you're the worst thing in the world, essentially. Like, now that Qatar has a certain rules, like, oh, you can't drink in the stadium, you know, not allowed to wear the armband, all that kind of stuff, and like everyone's up in arms when they don't see like the hypocrisy of their own countries, where like they're not allowed. Like, France would be like, oh, they're not letting them wear the armband, but they're not letting like women wear the hijab in their own countries.
Yeah.
So you're like,
actually
come
the
on,
niqab,
guys.
by the way. We were corrected a
Oh, was it a
million
niqab?
times.
Sorry,
Yeah. Our
niqab.
bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy out there where people call you out for something, and like in the back they like have 100 things that they should be called out for.
You know what it is? Because nobody likes accountability, man. That's the whole fact. Nobody likes accountability.
Yeah.
Because accountability, if it's a consequence of some kind, then it's just like, oh, then it wasn't. Everybody puts their hands up like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. But if it's like, but everybody wants the credit.
Yeah.
When it's good, everybody wants the credit. Where's my credit? But when it's bad, no accountability.
Yeah.
It's a weird game these guys.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon either. I feel like you kind of just have to learn how to navigate the game. I don't. Do you think it'll get any better?
Hello, Alam, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like our hero Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, man, he's dope, man. He's golden, man.
Yeah.
It's a sticky situation, man. But I think I think things can get better. I think optimism is good.
It's good, but you also have to be realistic,
Mm-hmm.
I think while we're in the West and the extreme like liberal ideologies are being like shoved down our throats right now, I think if you try to go against it, you're not going to be met with acceptance.
And that's I really believe, man, tending to your garden is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of these people that are up in arms about these these situations is because they're not even looking at their own problems, what they have to face.
Right.
Man, tending to your own garden is very important. And that's what I was getting at with the therapy thing, because again, the proximity is everything. A lot of people who have gone to therapy, for some reason, they've made that their whole personality now. You know what I mean? And if
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So I'm just like, okay, listen, if I don't go, you're making me feel like a bad person. And I was like, oh.
See, I think like during the pandemic, it became this really like, if you don't go to therapy, like you're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not okay. Like, like there was this movement, not movement, but there was this like thing online where a lot of women were saying like, if he hasn't been to at least one therapy session, I'm not going to give him a chance, which, not everybody has issues. Not everybody has these, like, yes, I get it. A lot of us children of immigrants have childhood trauma or whatever. But everyone has different ways of coping. So I thought it was funny. I don't think you should use that as your whole identity though. Because why are you limiting yourself to like, I go to therapy? That's
not
me.
at all, man. It's really, and then what are you gonna do? Trauma bond? That's even a crazier link up, man. I know too many people that did trauma bonding, and now, honestly, man, even like I talked to like even some of my cousins, man, that are women. Yeah, they trauma bonded, and listen, man, girls don't know how to keep friends. I tell someone, girls do not know how to keep friends. You talk to women, man. Listen, man. I told my cousin I've had some of the same friends for like 10 years. How did you do that? What do you mean? We play video games. We did. Keep it simple. We know how to tend to those gardens, man. Either what is it? Video games. Link up. We grab food. Whatever. When we link up, it's not key. That I don't know what it is, but that women do when they link up.
You know what it is? It's because guys. You never get too close. You don't have like such deep and vulnerable. Maybe you do. I don't know. But
but like most of the time.
Remember the time that we were talking when we went to brunch in LA?
Yeah.
And you were like,
oh my god! When I saw it, because I went on a trip with purely girls. I was the only guy there. I got an insight into what they do, and I'm like, how? Like,
but I explained it to you. Like I feel like I've had the same group of friends for my entire life, pretty much. But when we were talking,
she had a cheat code. It's like built-in family, bro. It's like
man. Blood bonding is different, man. Exactly. That's blood bonding.
Okay, but like outside of that, yeah, you're right. It's hard. I think because women seek more deep relationships with other women, and you clash a lot. So
women are competitive, man. Yeah, it's a competitive sport.
but also the difference is that like guys, we can fight, we can like scrap sometimes and be like the best buds later. Some guys will become best friends from scrapping. They'll get into a fight together and will walk out shaking hands.
It just happens.
Yeah,
man.
it just happens,
and that's reality.
Yeah,
that's the reality we live in, man. We're like, okay, man. Hashed it out.
Yeah, that can't be.
Burn some calories. Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe you girls gotta put on some gloves. Maybe you'll put some headphones on, get the controller out, play some Call of Duty or something.
You know when you become best friends with a girl, when you first meet and you're like, oh, she looks like, I don't want to swear on the podcast, but she looks like the B word. When you think that of someone, you usually end up being best friends with them. So. A lot of friends that I have now that aren't family, I've had that thought about them, so now you guys know.
Really? I ain't know about that.
We're cool, man.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about
now
that.
You guys know. But yeah, if you like meet in a social gathering or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk to her because she doesn't look friendly.
But this guy, you were traveling with how many women?
It was four of us.
4 of them.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, traveling with 3, but Aisha was already there.
I guess, technically my sister was already there.
But that's still, man.
But you're used to being around us. Like, we're cousins.
Yeah, but traveling is different. Traveling's like I can't get away. Like I can get away, but like it's a lot more limited on where I can go.
Why would you want to get away from us? Aren't we
No,
fun?
man. Sometimes you need your space, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes a guy just needs his space, some clarity, man.
Well,
And
sometimes-
True.
women don't get that.
Yeah.
Be like, oh man, he might hate me. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man, I just need to go like maybe yell in a
Yeah.
corner for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes
what
you just
you
want to
going
have.
through?
Sometimes you just want to have lunch without hearing the latest drama. You know.
First of all, we did not always talk about drama. Okay?
Bear tea, man.
Literally.
No, but I can feel you, man. I was telling these guys earlier. I was traveling like my homie. They were traveling in Vancouver, and they came through 5 women, 5 men.
Yeah.
These guys rented like a Ford Explorer or whatever, some big ass. We were moving like diplomats. And listen, man, women, hijabi women on top of that, man, just, they take forever to assemble, man. One bathroom break,
Listen.
45 minutes tops,
No
man.
way.
Oh man,
even.
these girls 45
Times
minutes.
3 or 5 for you.
By the time they came back to the car, I was like, yo, man, I already broke my wudu, man. But the neat thing was when I went back to, it was like one of those, it was, the reason why I took 45 minutes because it was one of those bathrooms that with just like one urinal or whatever.
Okay.
Everybody had to take turns. So that's the reason why.
Yeah.
But by the time we finally mobilized, I'm like, nah, I broke my wudu and I got to go use the bathroom now anyways. And I was pissed. But then I went in there and I saw a water bottle by the side. I was like, man.
They
I
got
said,
you.
yeah, man, this is good. They got me. There's a pool of water
Right.
all over.
Yo, if you don't, that's my biggest pet peeve is people who don't like dry off after. I can't, man. When you're stepping in a puddle and you have socks on, or like you're about to take your socks off, you put them down, there's puddle water over there. Nah, bro, I can't do that. You have to wipe down after. I don't know if you're one of those people. I might be calling you out right now. I'm just saying.
Man, I'm out here.
Okay, keeping
Yeah.
the tables dry, the tops dry. Okay,
top
just making
dry,
sure.
man.
Just
I'm
making
neat.
sure. Yeah, but yeah, you're definitely not getting out past like 2-3 p.m. or earlier than 2-3 p.m.
Yeah, man. It's,
It depends on. Okay, here's the
there are
thing.
half the days we were left at like 2 p.m. Okay, we can
no,
talk
because
about,
there's so many different types of characters in that.
Yeah.
Like so many. You'll have the sleepy one. You know,
We did
you
have
the
that.
sleepy one. You have the one that's up early, the organizer, the itinerary planner, all that person.
well, I was sort of that person.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Because like I was up, I wasn't making the plans like that,
No,
but like
you
I was
weren't.
like, let's go at least somewhere. Like let's go somewhere.
And then you got the person that's like co-signing, but like, yeah, man, I'm down for whatever. Never
That was me.
indecisive,
Nah.
just down for
What?
whatever.
Really?
I was always down.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was up
Lucky,
early
lucky.
and down. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Okay, good. Well, you guys had structure.
Yes,
Yeah,
a little
sort
bit.
of.
A little bit. Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, it sort of worked out. Speaking of traveling though,
Uh-huh.
so you went to Sudan
Yeah.
for a while. You're not even Sudanese. I legitimately
Yeah, I
thought you were Sudanese
So
for the
did I.
longest time.
Because I followed you then too, so I was like, oh, you moved there? Like, what was?
Nah, a lot of people think I was Sudanese, man. I think for the longest time, I even kept, not that I was keeping it a secret. I think if you knew me, you knew where I was from. But keeping it ambiguous, just so, because man,
It helped grow the eyes.
it helped grow the audience, man. But also like I feel like ethnicity sometimes would be the reason why somebody might ride with you for
Real.
the longest time, and there's no longevity in that. Sometimes I think I'd rather somebody rock with me for the skill set
Yeah.
that I've tried to hone, as opposed to be
Yeah.
like, man, he's from
Right.
where my mother's from.
Yeah.
And, we know.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not a strong enough connection sometimes, but it could be
yeah,
for
it
some
could
people.
be.
Not against it, man. If you want to rock with me, I love it. But yeah, man, I think like even with this one joke that I put out where I was like, oh man, I'm half Jamaican, half
Yes.
Djiboutian. Like if you look at the comments, man, people are literally like, Djibouti is Somali, technically Afar or whatever.
Oh my god.
Very tribal. And I
Yeah.
don't. I
don't play
kinda-
that.
I don't play tribal.
Yeah.
I think not to say that it isn't important, but tribalism is also, correct me if I'm wrong, but also don't really care. Like it's this, it's almost the same as like niggas that are claiming blocks and hoods and stuff like that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like if this is the reason why you won't rock with me, maybe because I put being Muslim above all.
Oh yeah,
of that,
definitely.
But like, that I think that's the destination. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why are we mixing
It becomes
around
it
with-
becomes an issue when what you mentioned, where they start saying like, I'm not gonna rock with you because of your ethnicity. that's where it becomes an issue.
Mhm.
If it's like, oh, you love your ethnicity, you love like maybe the culture behind it, whatever, that's cool. But if you start discriminating other people with it, then it's like, okay, like
It's
what are you
weird.
doing now? Yeah, it's
Now I
weird.
gotta have that, and I have to deal with that within my proximity.
Nah,
That's
nah,
man, that's
nah.
weird.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that is like.
Yeah.
Oh, and that happens a lot, man. Even if I tell people like when I'm from Djibouti, if I say, oh, I'm from Djibouti, they'll be like, oh, of Somali.
We get that too, though.
Yeah, we do.
All the time.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, so you're Somali, but you're Harari, right? And we're like, what?
You know what I'm saying?
What does that mean?
Yeah, man. And then I'll be like, oh no, I don't.
Yeah.
Nah, I
And you
don't.
try to move the convo. You're like, let's talk
So
about
you
something
speak French?
else. Exactly.
No, I don't speak French. So what do you speak? I said,
Yeah.
I speak Arabic. It's like, how? I'm like,
Yeah.
man, now I gotta explain that they speak Arabic in Djibouti.
Yeah.
There's you can see Yemen from right across the thing, man. It's very Yemenis.
Yeah.
I could throw a rock and hit Yemen from the Bahr, man. It's
For
freaking,
real though. Y'all are surrounded
it's
out there.
literally right there, man. And so that's why I'm a big fan of like again going where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated. And if you're going where you're tolerated, man, sometimes you just have to explain yourself a lot, and that's just like who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I deserve to be. It's like going to a job interview and nobody's paying you. You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So what was the reason you were in Sudan for?
So one of my friends that I met in BC, shout out to Omar. He's a British. He's from Britain.
Yeah.
But like I think he's from Britain. I met him while he was there. He was working and studying at UBC.
Okay.
And I was kind of like jump starting my stand up career at the time. I think I met him. I just came back from Umrah. And I was doing some show right after I came back from Umrah. I still hit the streets and I was doing stand up.
Yeah.
And I met him through another friend. And they're like, oh, this guy's Omar, man, he's Muslim. And then again, I think when I was in Vancouver, again, I would never make friends. I think by the time I was in my third year or second or third year in Vancouver, I was more so adamant about making good Muslim friends or making Muslim friends as opposed to just like friends, I need friends that are black or whatever. Because Toronto has such a great ummah, man.
Yeah,
whatever people might say, I think Toronto's ummah is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I could have a core group of friends in Vancouver, then I should be.
That must have been hard though, especially in Vancouver.
Oh man, they're spread out like Dragon Balls, man.
Yeah,
But
for real though.
yeah, but then when I met Omar, I was
Yeah.
like, Omar, man, let's link up, man.
And you already know, if you find one, you're gonna find the
You find
one.
one, we'll find the other, man.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
we started it's a matter of just dropping dots.
Yeah.
And then connecting them at some point.
Yeah.
So then through Omar, I met a friend named Munib, and then from Munib, I met his brother Hamdi, and then Hamdi Harari as well. These guys are
Hey,
Harari.
you know Hamdi?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a clothing brand now? He's like,
Yeah, man.
Okay,
with the
we
ice
know
cream
Hamdi.
cone
Yeah,
around.
I know Hamdi.
See,
Okay.
man. It's just a man. I'm telling you, man. He just dropped the dots, and then they
I'll
connect.
tell you, man.
From him, like, and then it turned into like, yo, come over to my crib. We're playing
Yeah.
Mafia or something. And then it turned into, we got an event. I got a brand, and that's like the network of. That's how you build something organically. So Omar, him and I were like this, and then he actually gave me some work. Like he booked me for a Frosh Week event at UBC.
Wow, okay.
So I was doing stand up for first years at UBC.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, because he wasn't a Canadian citizen, he got deported.
Oh shit.
He got deported. He had to go back to the UK.
It happened to a lot of people apparently.
It happened to a lot of
Yeah.
people, man. And so, but throughout the pandemic during Ramadan, even with my friends in Vancouver, we actually made like a WhatsApp group of just like, because I think like that first Ramadan and during the pandemic, man, where
Yeah.
everybody
Alone.
was locked in, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we made like a little group on WhatsApp every month. Every week we link up.
Yeah.
Do a little 1-2 halaqah, like friends from abroad were
That's
joining
so
to the thing.
nice.
All mandem. It was nice. It was
Yeah.
legit. And then, but majority of them were either led by my friends Omar, my boy Adil, and we had about like 30 guys in the group. And
30
Wow.
guys.
yeah, 30
Okay.
guys. It was super dope. And
Yeah.
then Omar, eventually, during the pandemic, around that time, he was in Sudan. He went there for his cousin's wedding. And so him and I are talking. We'd call each other every now and then.
Yeah.
And he's like, I ran into some money. And so I was like, yo, man, what's poppin'? He goes, yo, you want to come to Sudan? And I said, yeah, man, I'm going to come. And he didn't think I was serious.
Yeah.
A couple hours later, I looked it up. I checked the itinerary, booked it. I sent him a screenshot. He's like, all right, shit. I'll meet you at the airport, man.
Wait, really? That's
Yeah,
how
well,
it
man. I didn't even have a passport at the time, man. I went to I had a passport, but it was about to expire within like
Okay.
6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So literally the day before my flight, I'm like at the airport
my
at
God.
the thing, just getting
Getting
it all
it
done.
quick. Yeah.
All this other stuff, visa.
Did you even book a return flight? Like,
I did book a return,
Yeah.
but I ended up exceeding it.
I
I said,
definitely,
man,
that was clear. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I exceeded it, man. I said, I'm gonna stay here for a
Yeah,
minute, man.
because you're in it. Like, if you think about it, it's COVID. You don't know, like, you're gonna be able to stand up for a while. At that point, what? How late was it to stand up again?
I was about
or not stand up, but the COVID.
I went because the pandemic is like basically January, February.
Mhm.
I went winter. I went in like December,
Oh, okay,
and I
yeah.
stayed till the end of like January or mid February. Actually, mid February is when I came back.
Yeah,
hmm
it felt like you were there for a year. I don't know why.
Yeah.
If it felt like it. I honestly, I would have stayed.
Yeah.
Did you like it though? Did you feel like it was a good reset for you?
I loved it. It was a fantastic reset, man. The hospitality that Sudanese people show
Mhm.
is man unparalleled,
level,
man.
yeah.
You'll see it. There are a lot of people. It's actually funny enough. A lot of people in Qatar are experiencing that now. Like they're just like I'm seeing videos of people in Qatar, English people like scavenging for alcohol in bars and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and Saudis and Qatari people, they're like, yo, come into my house, play with my lions. And they're like, what the hell? Like, you just got to fill that. That just goes to show, man, anything that you have going,
Yeah.
man, you just got to fill it with a void, with something else. And
Yeah.
that's what it is, man. That's why these guys just be running around with lions and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it was, really. I went to Sudan. I was like, man, I wasn't doing any comedy. I wasn't doing any comedy. And I was like, and it was getting cold.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm a why not kind of guy. I don't. Why not?
Yeah.
Do it. And then I did it. And then
Honestly, that's the best, like, not perspective. What do you call it? Like the mentality to have, because you never know, like, what can come out of it, what you can learn from it, what we can experience from it. Like, I'm sure now you have a more like not nuance. What do you call it? Like more with that experience. What is it called?
You're more well-rounded.
Yeah, more well-rounded from it,
got
right?
you.
Like, there you go.
yeah, man. I met a lot of cool people while I was there. Friends that became strangers. For strangers that
Became
were,
friends.
Strangers that became friends.
Yeah.
And again, like I have in my barcode, I like going places where I'm unknown.
Yeah.
I don't like rolling around in groups. Like, that's my biggest fear, actually. I would hate to be a rapper. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Like
rappers,
with a posse.
With a
yeah. Some rappers are just sold this very pusillanimous behavior, man. They gotta, you know?
Never
What did you just say?
Pusillanimous. I learned that from my boy Omar, man. It sounds way better with a UK accent, you know. But it's like, it's weird behavior, man. These guys are always rolling around in groups, and they like.
I think it's part of like the it's like the persona of being like untouchable. Like, you know, when you have so many people around you, no one else is gonna approach you, right? So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
You
idea
wanna
of
be
being
approachable?
I want to be approachable.
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comedian, man. I'm a public servant.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it open?
I think
Oh.
so.
Oh,
You
did we
gotta
finish it already?
rotate the cam.
Oh,
no,
there
no.
you go. You're good.
It's
You're
there.
good. You're good.
You know what I mean? I'm a public servant, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a persona to uphold, and that's a problem with I'm not addressing rappers anymore, really,
Yeah.
but social media at that, you know, a lot of people are playing into their persona,
Yeah.
and like trying, and especially I learned early, man. If you try to live your avatar lifestyle,
Yeah.
and correlate that to your real life, you'll learn quick it doesn't add up, man.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
There's a lot of people
Have you?
who've shown that.
I mean, not really, to be honest. I'm trying to think of a scenario where I've been humbled quick. Actually, I'll give an example. There was a time when my beard was like super. My beard was super big, and I was at the beach in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And this is around that time one of those videos on TikTok went viral, and I was with my homies, and a group of girls came up to me, or one girl in particular, amongst the group, approached me, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're the guy from TikTok." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Can I take a picture with you?" I said, "Yeah, for sure." And then we took a picture, and then she's walking away, and her friends are like, "Who is that guy?" And she goes, "That's Trey from For Y'all Entertainment."
No way.
Oh my God.
Dying, and my boys are laughing. In the free for the next month, my boys were calling me For Less Entertainment, man.
Stop.
So I was like, oh, okay, man.
Those are the best friends you can have, man. The ones who can just like dog on you like that.
Yeah.
I think you need a board of directors, man.
Yeah.
I do have a board of directors, a collective of friends from a wide diaspora of age, you know, culture, ethnicity.
Yeah.
And we just like we chop it up, man. We chop it up, and then they keep me in check, and I keep them in check.
That's
and
why, because they keep you in check, man. They don't let your head get too big.
man.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because it gets crazy out here, man. And social media, man, people are digesting media in such a different way. Like they'll people will watch videos. They'll watch watch content, see the video, and before they even initialize like how they feel about the content.
Yeah.
Comments. Let's see how other people feel about it. You know what? This is how I feel about it. I choose to be offended. People being offended is a choice.
Yeah.
You know, just as much as being happy or being positive is a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, people's opinions nowadays are formed from other people's opinions. Some people don't even see whatever the content is, whatever it is. They'll start commenting on it like they've gone through it all just because they've seen a couple of comments pointing out a couple of things they didn't like.
Oh yeah, man. One of my homies that does the whole therapy thing, man, just making like I talk to them now. I'm learning words that they just learned from their therapist. Like, what the hell is echo chambering, man? Why do I need to know this word echo chambering? Like I gotta
He's probably talking about you and your friends. So he's like, this is an echo chamber.
Echo chamber. I said, nigga, are you a bat? Are you echolocation? Is that what you're talking about, man?
For real though, for real. I've seen that myself, honestly. Like,
I'm trying to think, have I ever done that? I don't want to be that
we've
person.
probably done it. Honestly, like, I know we're calling it out, but like, you might have done it not realizing that you've done it just because of how fast things are moving these days and how everybody just needs to have an opinion on something. And you feel like, oh, you have to like have an opinion now, or like you've missed it. And you might say something that you wouldn't normally say or wouldn't normally believe, right?
The comment section on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, sometimes it points out things that you might not have noticed when you watch the video for the first time, right? So then you're like, oh yeah, you know what? That person has a point. So, you know.
That's why I'm a professional lurker, you know.
But then again, TikTok is a different type of platform.
Yeah.
TikTok is a place where a lot of people are much more
I feel like they're ruthless.
Open, ruthless for sure. More times it could pass a vibe check or not. Yeah. But again, I think there isn't allyship of some kind. Like people aren't like dedicated to adhering to your feelings. Whereas Instagram, again, a totally performative platform.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree
like,
with that.
yes, like, girl, get it, and stuff like that. It's just like, what are we talking about? Like, even like, it's just, I've seen that behavior a lot where it's like, it doesn't correlate. That's why I think strangers, strangers, and that's why when I started comedy, I told myself, I said, as opposed to like going directly to my community to make them laugh, because what is the job of a stand-up comedian? The job of a stand-up comedian is to make strangers laugh.
Yeah.
If I can make strangers laugh, then I should be good at my job. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if I'm just making my friends laugh, how many people start businesses and their only clients are their friends and family? Yeah. Not really the best business, is it? You know, I'm not to say that it isn't, but then you have to, you know,
learn how to expand. Like,
yes, man. Growth is amazing, man. And growth takes risk. A lot of people don't want to take risk.
Yeah. So I guess that was a smart move then. Like just doing it without letting anybody know in the community, right? Because I guess that's kind of like
Aisha did too. Like when she started her YouTube channel. None of you. I think I was the only one who knew at the time. Yeah. And I was like the only one that was like supporting her. And then eventually it started to like snowball. And then the other cousins found out. They're like, "You have a YouTube channel? What the hell?" Like, and then and
that's the best way when people find out when you're already like making it in a way, or like you're already like well known at that point. Because then they can't be like, oh, it's not going to work out for you, man. You probably shouldn't be putting that in. You don't have those doubts being put into your mind already, right?
Yeah, man. That's strangers will rock with you more than your friends and your family.
That's what it is.
So that's true.
Even Dino, man. Shout out to Dino, man. This guy said one time, he goes, when I do a show, I tell strangers, I say, for strangers, half price. Friends and family, double.
Smart move, honestly. Yeah.
Hey man, friends and family pay double, man. Strangers come in regular price, whatever it may be. I like that. I like that mentality. That way you're just like, you're not selling yourself short, man. Because even I've done that enough of times, and like you'll see it a lot within the Muslim community, and then the Muslim community as well. Who has the money? Maybe it could be the Arabs. You know, these guys will be like, oh, you know, and then. People just like to think like that's why I hate this BIPOC stuff, man, because everybody wants to be inclusive or whatever it may be, but it's a very different scope of things. Like, even I'll give an example actually, and this is why the long game is so important. And sometimes I talk too soon on certain things, but I love it because my perspective yesterday could be way different than tomorrow. And the internet doesn't give a rat's ass about your apology. If you ever see me online being like, guys, I want to apologize for this thing, the internet does not give a rat's ass.
Yeah, they'll clown you for that, for making an apology.
Never apologize, because like even if you apologize, they won't even accept it.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. So it was funny. A couple of weeks ago, this guy who's a comic as well, he's out of maybe like Lebanese Christian or whatever, he reached out to me and he wanted to do a show, or wanted me to book me for a show for MESA, which is like a Middle Eastern Student Association. Right? But he initially said, yo, man, we'd love to have you. You know, we love to have you, XYZ. By the way, you're Sudanese? Are you Sudanese? And I was like, oh, I would love to hear more about this I would love to hear more about this event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he goes, I said, I would love to hear more about this event. He goes, and by the way, I tell him I'm not Sudanese. I'm actually Jamaican and Djibouti, but I have material on Sudan. That's why I have. Yeah. That's why I think you might mistake me as Sudanese, but I totally understand. And his response to me was, oh, unfortunately, see what I'm saying?
No.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to go with somebody that's like actually out of, we got one comic from Egypt and one person from Iraq. And I was livid. I saw the message.
Makes sense, yeah.
Again, my process when things like this happen to me, again, I go to the board of directors. Yeah. Because if I respond with impulse, it could get into a stickier situation. Yeah. So I let it marinate for a day. You know, do a 1-2, rakat, man, lay down, whatever it may be. Smart. And I went to the board of directors. My homie said, yo, let it marinate for a day, see how you feel.
Yeah, good call.
And then I messaged him the next day. Now I'm just curious which institution it was. Yeah. You know? So I inquired. I said, yo, which institution it was it? And then right when I inquired, he goes, wait, you said you're half Djiboutian, by the way. And I said, why does that matter? And he goes, it's just because, you know, I'm trying to convince the members of the committee that Djibouti is technically an Arab country. Yeah. You see this thing, man? It's technically an Arab country because it splits the Red Sea. They share the Red Sea. Kida, all this like formalities and technicalities or whatever.
Tribal stuff they mentioned.
Yes. You know what I mean? And so I was like, listen, man, I'm not... I said to him, this doesn't really matter to me. What MESA is, it still doesn't answer the question. Yeah. And he's like, I'm trying to convince the committee. I said, listen, man, I told him like straight up, I said, I'm glad that you guys are putting together an event to celebrate Middle Eastern culture and heritage, you know, champion that totally. But my problem is that you offered the opportunity to me on the technicality that I was Sudanese, and then rejected the offer, rejected my services upon hearing otherwise. Yeah. So that seems very disingenuous. Right. And so, and then on top of that, I said, I'm already used to it. First of all, I'm already used to this as being a black Muslim man, Semitic or whatever you want to use or whatever. It's something like I got to prove that I'm Muslim enough to perform in front of MESAs. I got to prove that I'm Arab enough to perform in MESA sometimes. So it's just like, I'm already used to it. All of this to do the most secular thing on the planet, which is make people laugh. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you're doing it right or whatever. And also, again, I said that to him. And then again, he's like, oh, man, it's not really me, man. It's the community. So, again, nobody wants the credit. Yeah. Nobody wants the accountability, but they want the credit when it's up. Yeah. When it's stuck, it wasn't me. Yeah. You know? And so I said, listen, man, I'm still open to working with them. I'm still open to working with them. Just like
Still gotta secure the bag. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Gotta
already
secure
know.
the bag, man. Still open to working with them. Man. Let's get the money,
Exactly.
man. And you know what? And then the funny thing, now I was hot and I was heavy about it. I was like, yo, man, fuck me. And then I hear that they only wanted me to do 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
What are you gonna do in 5 minutes?
5 minutes is salam and out, man.
Exactly,
That's like for an Arab students. Listen, man, no transaction in the world of Arab culture has ever taken 5 minutes, man.
Right.
Just
You
like
gotta
greetings.
sit down, drink tea. I gotta learn about your family lineage or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And so in my mind, when they booked me for it, and then they actually tried mediating like what I was gonna talk about. They said in the group chat like, "Oh, what are you gonna be talking about specifically? Because there's gonna be Arab parents there and there's students there and stuff like that." And a part of me was like, I could have kept it. I was just, I heard some of the two Arab comics and the thing they put down point form what they were gonna say. I was like, I just put malaria. I was gonna talk about malaria. I just put one word, and I knew in my mind that's not a 5-minute joke. I'm gonna do 15 regardless. And then I'm an overstepper. You know what I mean? But the funny thing enough, so now long story short, I get there. Last night is when I did that show.
Oh,
Bomb.
last night?
Yeah, last night I did it.
It was
Oh,
that?
no.
Man, I bombed and I loved it. Really? I loved every minute of it, man.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it sucks, man. But you know what it is? You have to get used to turbulence, man.
Yeah.
You know what's fun? You know what's even funner than like watching somebody kill sometimes? Is actually watching somebody like going through it. And I was going through it, but listen, man.
That is such a comic thing to say.
Man, people pay good money to see somebody go through it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it obviously is because it was like a lot of parents.
Yeah.
Fob, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
But the overall environment of the room, the itinerary of the event, it was kind of like, listen, man, you know how these Arabs get down, man. They just want to see Dubke.
Yeah.
They hear Palestine, and then they go, la, 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 and then it's just like they banging the sticks together.
Yeah, they're just we're looking at the clock there. When's
man.
Dubke starting, bro?
When the Dubke started, man, I followed up after like a fake wedding play or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like, boom. And I did my jokes, but to be honest, I wasn't going to do like, what kind of comedy am I going to do to these people?
Yeah.
And then I broke my wudu. You know what I mean? Like, no, man, I went there and I did low roll jokes, man. I was like, man, I was making.
That was gonna be one of my questions. Like, do you ever feel like you have to water down, or you're limited by your jokes you can say or even make?
Those events, like those kind of events, to be honest, man, I rather just like
You don't want to burn the bridge, I guess.
No, I don't care about.
Okay.
I do care about
Yeah.
bridges sometimes because there's integrity in keeping those.
Yeah.
But also, I'm gonna sleep. I sleep with myself every night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to think about how am I gonna feel waking up in the morning knowing that I let some shit slide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So every time I go up, I make sure that I'm having the most fun because
That's so important to do that too.
Yeah.
100%. Because if I'm not having fun, you're gonna tell that I'm not having any fun, and then if I don't want to be here, if I look like I don't want to be here, you're not gonna want to be here either.
Yeah.
So what I mean, and I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And I had fun. You know, but they just weren't.
They weren't feeling it. That's all it is.
They
Yeah.
tugged it out, and it was a good experience. But I learned that, man, I just learned that again. That's a part of the journey, man. And the duck, goose. What a game! This is my analogy for.
Oh, okay.
When
Okay.
you're in something for a long time, when you're dedicated to something, like as repetitive as stand-up comedy, or even if you're playing ball and there's a long season, sometimes, man, you duck, goose, you're gonna hit a bomb eventually.
You had a
man.
goose yesterday. That's all
I had
it
a
was.
goose,
That's
man.
it.
That's it, man. And
Yeah.
if you live in fear of not touching the goose, man, you'll never taste a duck.
For sure. That's
That's
a
good
perfect analogy right there.
analogy.
Exactly. But do you ever get annoyed because some people don't know how a comedy game works? They think you're always making new sets every time. You get annoyed when people be like, "Yo, I swear I heard you say that last week."
I heard that joke, man. I heard that on the internet, man. I heard that.
Exactly.
You know what? That's why I really took time. Like now I'm kind of like, now I'm in the midst of unveiling and releasing
I've
some
noticed.
of the jokes that I've like held on to
Yes.
the last couple years, because I've been crafting these jokes for a
Yeah.
while, and the last thing I wanted to do was present it half baked, you know, to somebody on the internet and be like, oh, okay, this is a joke, rock with me.
Yeah.
You know, these are my babies. You know, I feel like I've nurtured these jokes to the point where I need them to grow themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and also by letting them go, I'm actually creating space for new jokes because you know I'm gonna I hope to be growing in other aspects of my life first,
Yeah.
and then comedy will grow as well. Like maybe like again like and by the time I'm like 35, I might be like into gardening or some shit.
Yeah, you
know?
never know where life
Never
will take
know,
you.
You
I'm
know,
just
then I
saying.
might have something like, oh man, I brought the hose out, and but a different type of hose. You know, that's my comedy. My comedy might change. You know, so I think it's important to grow with people, man.
Yeah.
You know, like and that's what we're all in here for, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, I'm gonna take a quick break.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm gonna reset the cameras here, and we'll be back in just a 2nd.
We're recording? Yeah, I would love to hear. I would love to hear your take on like what the first show you guys came to was the one in Scarborough.
Yes.
Right? It was in the summertime.
Yes.
And that was an iconic time because my Instagram was disabled at the time
Yeah.
as well, and I was doing anything and everything to get people like bring awareness to the show. I showed up to events that I was invited to, but I pretended I wasn't.
We
you
were
were
there.
at the
Up One podcast.
podcast.
Art
I
special.
saw. I don't think we saw you there, but I saw the photos afterwards.
Yeah, man, I wrote on a cardboard sign.
Yes.
I'll send you guys the picture.
No, we did see you. We saw you
Was
as
it-
we were
oh,
walking out.
Yeah, we were walking out and you were coming in and we're like, hey, we'll see you at your show next week. Like that's literally like the only interaction we had, and then we went to the show. the following week.
Yeah, man.
But like one thing that I noticed was when we pulled up to the show, and I actually really admired this about you, was you stood at the door and you greeted every single person, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like normally I kind of, my bad for making this assumption, but I thought you would have just been like hiding out in the back, and then you would have came out and then did your set and then that's it. But you were like willing to speak to everyone. You were very much approachable, so I really did admire that.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I love that. I love that. I enjoy, like, I think producing a show is something a lot of comics dread because it takes a lot of work.
It
you
does.
know, you're doing a lot of admin stuff. It's not
Right.
like it's like hosting a party, man. You know, like the person that hosts a party is never having the most fun. You know,
Yeah.
and if the person that's hosting the party having the most fun, then it's probably like it's
Not really well organized.
well, it's not the best party, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so not to say that I wasn't having fun, but I really take pride in it. Like when you're inviting people to your show, it's like inviting them to your home,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of
Right.
people, it could be their first experience doing comedy, first experience with you. First impressions last a long time, go a long way. And I just enjoy it, especially like doing it in Scarborough and also any show really. I found like again servicing our people
Yeah.
is like it takes an authentic approach because I'll give an example. When I first started doing comedy back into when I came back to Toronto, initially I was getting spots on everybody's shows in the comedy industry, like and most of these shows would either be at like bars, pubs, nightclubs, strip clubs, even. You know what I mean?
Strip clubs too.
Okay. Vancouver is where the strip clubs were at.
Oh,
Like
okay,
there was an open mic in a strip club, but it wasn't like Shorty was dancing here, and I was like, my little brother is a sound partner. It was more so like there was a room on top of the thing, and it was just like a
Gotcha.
private with a stage or whatever.
Yeah.
But then because of the love of the game, I'm willing to go anywhere to service to hone my skills. But now coming back to Toronto, I was again sharing every poster that my name was on for shows where I was only doing maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you know, hosting or whatever. And I would share it just because I was happy to be in and put it on my story. And then like you'll see like 5-10 hijabis pull up to this event, but it's at a bar. Or it's at they don't know the address. They don't know the venue. They just know the address. They don't know the venue. Right? Now, environment is an important thing. When you're dealing with our community, you know what I mean? You want to make people feel comfortable. And I'm looking at these shows, man. I'm seeing like 4 hijabis sitting next to the bar, drinking water. You know what I mean? And like even at that show, I knew who they were there for. So I'd go over to them and I'd be like, "Yo, thanks for coming."
That's so nice of
You know
you,
what I mean?
though.
Yeah, it's the least. It's the least because again, like I like the idea of people again going where you're celebrated and pouring into your own cup, man. It's just like and I saw that, and that's why I was like, okay, maybe I should start producing my own show, because I think
Right.
a lot of people do want to see, one, they want to pour into my cup,
Yeah.
and two, like, and they want to come together and do it. So that's when I started producing my own shows.
Yeah.
And you'll see, like, again, a diaspora of East Africans. And again, in Toronto, the two most contagious cultures is East Africans and Jamaicans. You know what I mean? And so you bring those two together, man, you just got a vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then traditionally, when I'm booking, like, if I wanted to book a comedy club or a theater of some kind, theaters are a bit easier in terms of like contractual restrictions with drinks and money. But like if it's a comedy club,
Right.
it's like
2 drink minimum.
2 drink minimum. And that could, honestly, it could be like a pop or some kind, but there's a quota. Alcohol is significantly more expensive than pops and sodas and food sometimes, if people are drinking heavily. And so if I'm booking if there's like a 2,500 quota, and if they don't make it, I'm not gonna be like, yo guys, you need to run up some rum and coke so I don't have to like pay this, you know what I mean? And one, I don't want to be making money off alcohol. Two, I don't want to be advertising, yo, drink up,
Right.
So, and again, nobody wants to be sometimes some people don't want to be within the proximity. So it's kind of like a bit of like what's happening with Qatar, this situation where people are like, how do I fill the void with this? People are actually learning to have fun without being in that environment.
Yeah.
One of my friends, my barber, shout out to Jay. He is he's a reaver, and he's like I think he's like Guyanese, like Puerto Rican type beat, Muslim from Flemo. I can't remember. My apologies. I can't remember his exact ethnicity.
Yeah.
He's an Arc nonetheless, and I go to him for a cut all the time.
Right.
And when I was and then when I was telling him about the show, his boy, who cuts next to him, heard about the show as well. He invited him, and he said when they came together to the show, I think it was one of the Scarborough shows that I did, and he's like, man, I had so much fun, and I didn't even drink. And I didn't realize, like, stand-up comedy is a place where I can go have fun, and I actually don't have to like drink to have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so now, like, he's come to these like 2-3 shows, even if he's a
that.
repeat offender. I love it. You know what I mean? So you provide that space for that kind of engagement.
Yeah.
Which is dope.
And what I thought, sorry, I know you were about to say, what I thought was beautiful was I was listening to a podcast, Extra Gravy Show, with Big Norm and Dadu McFly. And Big Norm said he was at a show with you. I think he was opening for you. And like, it shows how beautiful his show culture, because he was like, I think it was like Maghrib or something, and like you guys had to pray, and he's like literally like you guys like cleared the area around the stage, and y'all just started praying, and like Big Norm just like ran and just started getting emotional. I don't know, he got emotional. He started like crying because he just saw how beautiful it was, and I think that's cool to bring that to the comedy world, because you don't really see that much, right? They don't see our side of the culture or our side of religion. They don't see it all that kind of, but bringing it there, it might expose some people to something they never seen before.
Exactly. That day was actually hilarious, because it wasn't even like something you can't really just orchestrate, like put it on an itinerary and be like, yo, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
To be honest, sometimes I would love that. I actually plan the shows that like, oh man, let's get it after. Let's make the show time after Maghrib. You know what I mean?
I mean, in the winter, it's easier to do that.
Way easier than with summertime is a challenge, man. Maghrib is 9 o'clock, man.
I know. Prime time.
Isha, that's a you situation, man. Isha, you
Real though, still.
you gotta bust that out at the crib later on before you. That's a you situation.
You already know.
Exactly.
But Maghrib, man, that one's a stickier one, right? But winter, that was during the summertime.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was chilling in the green room, and a couple brothers from Ottawa, like, again, I think like it's having the people being people around me, again, board of directors, but also being approachable to be like, I want a brother or a sister to be like, yo, listen, I'm trying to pray, man.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah.
So what we did, so these brothers, they came into the green room. It's like, yo, we're trying to pray. And what am I going to be like? Nah, man, I got a show to do. I was like, yeah, man, do your thing. So what we did was, again, we put some sisters that wanted to pray. We made an announcement. Sisters want to pray, just jump into the green room so they're not in front of the people them. And then the brothers took the stage. Did it 1, 2, and then Norm. I think the thing was Norm. Norm was smoking outside.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Norm was outside thumping the blunt, and then he came in. He was like, "Yo," and so he's just like, "Yo, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen."
Yeah, man, that's exactly how he said it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I thought that was like a great example. Oh shoot, we just lost a thing there. Honestly,
I think it's fine.
is it fine? Yeah,
There's
it's
a
fine.
little-
It's
yeah.
fine. Don't worry
Mhm.
about it. I'll fix
That's
it in
okay.
post. It's all good. So now, where are you in your where are we in your lifespans? Right now, we've gone through, you know, your come up. I feel like in the last year, you've blown up. Like you've gone to the next level. At least in my eyes. At
Oh
least in
man,
my
I
eyes.
tell that to my bank account. Man. I said, blowing up. Damn, I need.
No, the bank account always takes a little bit
Oh,
more time to
man.
get there. I'm telling you, right? But isn't it the worst? I think I don't want to give away your joke, but like it's crazy when you have notoriety before you have the money. Like when you're known, when you're famous, before it comes through, because everybody thinks you got it, but you're like,
Yeah.
You
I'm
got
still-
it, man. Then you're shaking ass, man.
Exactly.
Your pockets are just shaking it, man. I know those ones, man.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I at in my career, man? You know what? I feel like, you know what? The idea of blowing up has never been like something I was infatuated with.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen people blow up, and then I've also seen the come down from a blow up, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like coffee, man. You start
Yeah.
off here, you take it, and you're here, and then boom, you're down here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like the idea of just like
The slow.
man, longevity. Somebody even messaged me because like, I've heard that all the time, man. I think like even a black man, man, I'm telling you, when people ask me like why comedy, I think earlier on, I think the cliche answer for most comics are just like, man, I just love making people laugh. You know,
Yeah.
that's something I love to do. And not to say that's the wrong answer. There's no
Yeah.
wrong answer. But for me, I was like, man, I don't give a f- about these people, man.
Yeah.
I don't. I
That's
said,
how you know you love what you're doing.
I don't give a rat's ass about these people, man. I care that I found something that I'm good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people and black men like really thrive and find something they're good at and just run with it. And that's just something I just want to, if I could embody that through my lifespan, because two things are inevitable, man: death and whatever the second one is. Whatever the second one is, man. You just gotta go after it. And so if I've been here and I'm gonna blow up, man, you know, everyone, man, everybody will love black people, man. They love congratulating you on anything, man.
Yeah.
When I
Congratulations on getting on
You
Hassan Minhaj show.
you made it, man. Niggas, I graduated from high school. Niggas were like, you made it. I said, I was supposed to do this. You know what I mean? I was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But even my homie messaged me. He goes, man, because he just did this Raptors commercial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Which congratulations.
Congratulations
Oh.
on the mattress commercial.
That was really
we did this
cool.
rap. And mind you, again, like complete and utter transparency. People are like, yo, man, my boy messaged me, yo, let him know the price has gone up. I said, listen, man, the only reason why I was in that commercial was because I was within the proximity of some good friends that were shooting that thing. So shout out to Tier Zero, Don, Charlie, the whole team over there, T, man. These guys, I was just hanging out. I'm at Shoot for Peace. I'm at Shoot for Peace at least three
Shout
times.
out to Shoot for Peace.
Shout out to Shoot for Peace, man. I'm there like 3 times a week. Just like, again, if you want to be hot, stand next to the fire.
Yeah.
And proximity is everything, man. I'm hanging out with these guys, and one day they were like, yo, Phils, we're shooting a thing for... we're shooting a
for
thing
Nike, or not Nike,
for the Raptors. Would you like to be in it? I said, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like people are like, oh man, he's up. Listen, they gave me $50 cash. They gave me $50, and that $50 meant everything to me.
Yeah.
One, because I was cooking with my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, everybody is building something. Everyone wants to network. I think what Issa Rae said it on some part. I'd be scrolling on the reels. She said something about everybody wants to network up, man.
Yeah.
Well, look about. I'm in help side defense, man. I'm
Right.
networking here, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And my boy messaged one of somebody, yo, man, you're about to blow up. And I said, listen, man, I'm trying to blow up when I'm 50. You know, someone said, don't forget me when you blow up. I said,
What?
Yeah, he said, don't forget me when you blow up. I said, listen, man, I'm trying to blow up when I'm 50. You know what I mean? And the only way I'll forget you is because of old age. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Because like, I'm forever come up mode, man.
Yeah.
Forever come up mode. That's growth.
Okay, chill. It's not that bad, okay? Okay, so...
I was just asking him about like how he determines or how he picks people that open for him, or that, you know, because he was saying like he likes to share the platform with other comedians. So how do you go about, like, Are they friends of yours? Like, do you only like to bring on friends? Do you just like scout people online?
Not really. I think like you kind of just you see them in the field.
Yeah.
Like you're doing other people's shows. You catch them on a night. You be like, hey man, you wanna come through and just do a thing, man?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's more so like producing a show sometimes is like it's like orchestrated pickup runs, you know. That's what it is really. Like, yo, we need 5.
Yeah,
come through.
Like, yo, you're here.
Yeah.
You're here, boom, 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 and then we'll have a good time. And then sometimes some dudes can't make the run last minute, or sometimes drop in, and you'd be like, yo, come through, have a good time. That's
typically how the comedy game goes, right? Like usually, because you have a show every weekend basically, so you're always trying to fill spots, trying to make your own show. Especially how you mentioned like, you're trying to build your own thing, so you don't have to have your audience go into certain spots. So you kind of like start having to organize a lot more. So are you organizing a lot more of your own shows now? Like, I don't know if this is your show, right?
Yeah, this one's my show. So I think like I realized is just I've had a lot of fun just kind of producing my own shows. It's just like when you're in control of in control of like the variables. To producing a show, you take that account. You're accountable. You know? And honestly, I don't have a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? So when I do get a chance to, exercise my accountability and responsibility with this craft, I'll be like, man, let's zero in, man. Let's focus, and then also bring in people who are able to like do what I can't.
Right.
So like when it comes to like graphics and I might have an idea, but I might not have the skill set to really orchestrate it as well. So I find somebody that can.
Okay.
And it's good to build up those skills now. Like, I know you like you said, you're trying to build slowly, but like then you can start using those skills to help other people build their own shows, right? Maybe someone else in your community that you want to kind of take under your wing, then you kind of be like, okay, this is what I did. It's almost like you're setting the ground, or like you're laying the groundwork, the foundation for other people to kind of build off of. But also, so what do you see yourself doing? I know everybody hates going. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? Or
in the next 5 years, man. Hello, man. I just want to still be doing comedy. Still be doing comedy, be able to express myself freely. I just want to. I think the goal, my goal essentially, and I think most Muslims as well. I have a stick about this, but my goal is to essentially put myself in a position where I could benefit my family, my friends, and the members of my community. You know what I mean? And I think if we all did that, I think we'd all be in a much better place. And it takes that's a really big thing that I noticed, man. That makes a big difference. When I was just this past summer, I was opening for Nimesh Patel. He's a big time comic on TikTok. Based out of New York, and he's toured across the nation, the whole year and some change. You know what I mean? And I got to open for him a few times in Vancouver and in Toronto. Now the weekend that he was in Toronto, Hassan Minhaj was there that same weekend. Right now, Nimesh Patel was doing 6 shows at the Royal Theatre that seats about like 450. And Hassan Minhaj was doing the Rogers.
Where was it again?
Ontario Center or something like that. I know it had Ontario in the name.
We went there, but I just don't remember.
Yeah,
one of those, right? And he sold out. Both these guys sold out the whole of Toronto. Literally, they did. Hassan did 4 shows, 2 nights. Nimesh did 6 shows, 3 nights, and then I was chilling with Nimesh in the back in the green room, and he's like, "Man, there's a lot of Indian people came out to support me," and I was like, "Why are you surprised?" He's like, "In America, it's like it'll be like 30% Indian, and then like a lot of white people."
Interesting.
And then I was like, and then I'm like, I'm taking it in. I'm looking like, man, the Desi community again pours into their own a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and some people were double dipping too. Don't get it twisted. They would go to Hassan, they'll go see Nimesh, and then they'll go see Hassan either the next night or the same night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how much they pour into each other, and it's like, it's really cool to see. And they do that a lot. They do that quite often with like not just comedy or entertainment. Like, you need a mechanic, they probably know somebody. You need fillings, you need dentists, you need what's that, MRIs. You know, I know.
So
specifically because I have a story about some brother that needed an MRI. Talk to one, two. If you have another Pakistani friend, man, and you just like, yo, listen, man, I can get you booked, because MRIs take a long time to
I know
book,
someone
right?
wait like 3 months.
I had a guy who they told him you gotta wait like 9 months, 2 weeks, because he knew a guy. You know what I mean? So that's the purpose of this, like, again, like, I guess cultural represent equity or something like that, having some sort of pull, again, being able to put yourself in a position where you could benefit your family, your friends, and your members of the community. And so I saw that quite often. So I'm like, now I'm looking at the East African community, the Muslim community. We're doing, it's like I feel like there's a wave of like pioneers in this in the midst in this city, and also there's probably people watching this elsewhere in the world, in the UK, freaking Minnesota, and in California. There's so many pockets, and it starts there. Like, even if there's one person that's doing, if I can't be like the only one that's doing stand up, there's got to be somebody else eventually, you know. So I like the idea of, again, pouring back into your community. That's another one of these, like, I'm like, I like the idea that we're doing. I could have been doing the show at I could been doing the show at some like random theater, but again, I'm doing it in my friend's studio.
Yes. I forgot to mention that too, like the fact that you chose that venue specifically, because you're sort of like, your people are pouring into your cup, but then you're pouring right back, so it's like a
mutual benefit.
Sort of.
Yeah,
man. I don't know if your mom ever said. My mom used to say this, man. One hand never washes anything, man. One hand never. If you try to just like, but you can't wash your hand. You can't wash your own hand with just one hand.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you have to like. It's the way it's got to be done. If there's any sort of like progress.
Yeah, I've definitely been seeing that wave of support that's been coming out now. I don't know if you've been feeling it from the community, but like, I think now, like, we're more established as a community, as an East Side community in general. That like, we're more willing to just go out and support each other. Like,
which is good.
So hopefully we can continue to see that to where we can get to a level like that, like the Indian or brown community in general.
They'll catch up, man. They'll catch up, because if it's hot, people, if it's hot, if the quality of the service is good, people will buy in. Like, I've seen it now, like, even I'm seeing ticket sales. I'm seeing ticket sales now, and it's like, it isn't just like Fatima's and you know, Abdel Fattah's coming up to the buying tickets. It's literally, I'm seeing Anthony's, Carl, Thomas. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what Toronto is, man. Again, a great diaspora of different, and that's what comedy is, really super secular, man. I want to see some couple guys with some. I want to see some Desi guys with turbans in the crowd, just having a good time, laughing. You know what I mean? If you want to come through or sitting next to a sister in a car, what the heck, man? Life is up, man. That's what it's about.
Especially in this city.
In this city, man, it's a beautiful city, man. I had a moment a few weeks ago, man. I walk home sometimes when I have a really like good day. When I have a lot of ducks, you know, when I've had a lot of ducks, man, I'll walk home and I'll walk like the long way. And I had a show where it was a duck situation. I was like, but even actually the day was already a duck situation, because I went to Rudy's Burgers. Is it Rudy Burgers? There's Rudy Burgers on like Queen and Queen and
the steak
downtown
place beside the
downtown,
Hilton?
somewhere downtown, close to like.
It's the one I know. It's on Front Street.
Yes.
Front Street and like right at University in front.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I go there, and there was a brother who's working in the kitchen. I was trying to place an order. The Indian guy's taking my order. And the brother working in the kitchen, and he looks Habasha. And he goes, yo, what you saying, fam? I said, I'm blessed, man. I'm out here. what are you saying? I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
Right? So what are you saying?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm blessed, man. I'm out here shaking it. I said, nah, man, you're working, man. You're getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and then I placed my order, and then I tried paying for it. He's like, yo, don't worry about that.
Nah.
I said, what? He goes, and the Indian guy's like, he doesn't have to. He's like, don't worry about that. And then I walked away. I came back, and he came outside, dapped me up. He said, yo, listen, man, hold this down. I said, oh, man, respects, man. I still don't know. His name was, I think it was Paul or Joseph or something like that. It was one of those names, man. Shout out to him. This guy, again, free Edinburgh. I walked into the show. Yeah. I don't think I was actually on the show that I was at.
You're just going to go watch.
I was going to go watch.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and I got a poutine, I got a brownie, he gave me a burger, he gave me a drink, gave me the whole shebang. Yeah. And I walk in there, and comics are like, you bring in food, and bringing outside food is like sometimes frowned upon or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
My show is everybody brings Tim Horton cups.
You already know.
And they were like, yo, man. I was like, man, this city's beloved, man. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, man, Toronto is like such a bang city. Like, you see it online at least. A whole lot of, there's always like some sort of slander happening. Oh, the city is toxic. I said, man, stop living on King Street, man. Stop living at King Street. Yeah, for real. What are you living on King Street after dark? That's what you're dealing with. Me, I only go outside at night for a comedy, and that's it, man. I go back to the crib.
Yeah, your perspective of the city can be so different depending on where you stay.
So different, man. Proximity is everything. Yeah. And like how you choose to go about it. So like if you choose that perspective, then that's all you're gonna really see, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so
you feeling inspired?
I feel inspired.
Oh man, I love this. I love Toronto, man. Even on one of those podcasts that I did with Norm, we were debating. Or not debating, we were discussing about like what it takes to make it in comedy. Because like being a comic in Canada, it is a challenge because
the pool is smaller.
The pool is small, and the pool is small, but also the market. The market is tough.
It is,
right? But the ability to get better is great. You know, it's a different type of style of comedy as it is in America, but America is the big leagues, right? Yeah. The goal for most Canadian stand-up comedians is to get a visa of some kind and just go cook in the States, right? And I like that idea. I like that that's a thing. But there was at some point I was hanging out with a bunch of comics, and pretty much night in and night out, every other week they'd be talking about, man, I gotta get the visa, man, I gotta get to America and stuff like that. And I kind of adopted that mindset for a short period of time, and I was like, man, again, why am I focused on where I'm not to get where I want to be? Like, how am I gonna get to where I want to be if I'm not, again, focused on where I'm at right now? Right. I was like, yo, listen, man, do you want to make it out of Toronto? Like, how do you make it out of Toronto? And I was like, I'm trying to make it in this city, man. You know what I mean? And then hopefully, you know, whenever that time comes where I touch that side of the border legally,
gotta get that B1 visa or not V1. What is it? The A1
or O1.
I think O1, A1. Man.
Whatever my sister got.
Give me one. That's what. Give me one visa, man. You know, but then I'm trying to hit like as soon as that happens, man. I'm trying to like, you know, take off. It's like taking off the ankle weights. You know? You ever see Gara? You ever watch Naruto? You guys don't watch Naruto?
I watched Naruto.
You remember when
he takes off the bands?
He takes off the bands. Now he's just like, and he gives Gara a run for his money. That's the type of beat that I want to be on. So again, focusing on where you're at as opposed to where you want to be will get you to where you want to be a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of answered the 5-year question. Like, you're trying to get, at least maybe it's not your main goal, but you're trying to get to America essentially. Yeah. Like, you're trying to get to the big leagues essentially. Because that's the one thing whenever I'm listening to the other podcasts, like with Norm as well, he mentions like, if you go outside of the city, it's literally just like purely white people, man. Like, you're not getting anything outside of white people. So it is challenging, and it kind of that does help. Like you mentioned, it really helps to like hone in on your comedy and be more universal in a way. But in America, you can go anywhere, and like you can find your people. You can find people who relate to what you're talking about.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely something interesting. And one thing I wanted to finish off with is like this is more of a comedy question. So who are your top 3 comedians right now? And who are your like all-time top 3 comedians? Because I know it can be hard to like narrow down just as 3.
My top 3, my favorite comedians right now are again Dino Archie,
Yeah.
Dave Minhaj,
Mm-hmm.
and
These are both locals too, no?
both my friends.
So actually, no, Dino's not really. Yeah. Oh, your friends. There you go.
They're both my friends.
Okay.
They're my favorite comedians because again I deal with them.
Yeah.
Their influence on me is more tangible than I guess like a Chappelle or a Kevin.
Yeah.
And all these guys. But yeah, man, those guys are my dogs, man. The one thing that Dave said one time, I think either on a podcast or even just in a conversation, man, just being undeniably good, you know, will get you far. So like I think like when you have one of those rough nights or whatever where you think like everybody loves a blame game.
Yeah.
I'm not where I want to be because this is what happened.
Yeah.
You know, they kept the door closed for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just being undeniably good, just really just like, man, you'll close all those doors.
Yeah.
You'll open all those doors. You'll bust through those windows. And man, I'm trying to think of a third. I think another one of my friends, Ola Dada. Him and I, we kind of came up together. He has a lot of tenacity.
Yeah.
He's a very persistent worker in comedy, man. He'll go. A guy that again within my proximity, I think those are the guys I really I respect a lot.
I might have to search that. Ola Dada?
Ola Dada. He was at one of the shows that I did. The first show I did, Shoot for Peace. And he came through at a time when it was the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Toronto, and he was doing a bunch of shows, and then we were fortunate enough to have him do his Dougie and come through.
Okay. And then how about all 3 of all time, like just in general?
All 3 of all time, man. I love Hassan Minhaj. I love Dave Chappelle, and I really admire Ali Sadiq.
Ali Sadiq?
Ali Sadiq, man.
Yeah, I love Ali Sadiq.
Ali Sadiq, man.
You see his new special? The one he did in prison?
Yes, man.
Yo, I was like, that's different, man.
He did one in prison?
Yeah.
Man. He's making inmates laugh. He's servicing
it was
community,
funny
man.
Too, bro.
He's a public servant, man.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I respect these guys a lot. And they have so many different styles, man.
They do.
Like Hasan again, servicing intellect. His community, and also, man, his story. I love the way he just dresses up a style. Like I don't know why I care about his family so much. You know what I mean?
You know everything about him at this point.
I know everything about him. Like at this point, and everything I need to. And he's again very transparent. The same dude you see over there.
Yeah.
When I met him, again, same energy.
Yeah.
Same vibration.
He seems like that kind of guy.
Same like that guy, man. Dino, it's my dog, man. He's just like he enjoys comedy so much, man. And I think. When I'm going at my lowest days, sometimes I'm watching him even record his special independently. He recorded it, funded everything his special independently that he's right now he's editing. Hopefully by the time you guys see this, you'll be able to watch his special. Toxic but safe. Man, it's so funny, man. He talks about like going on the low road, which is his lifestyle. Yeah, but also, man, he walks onto the stage with a cane, like a blind man's cane. And he's like, yeah, man. Like is the blind leading the blind? Yeah, literally. And he the way he enters the theater too. He doesn't walk from backstage or anything. He walks from the crowd like a WWE.
Oh no way!
Like he's a WWE fighter, man. I love that, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You want to look for people who are doing things different. You know, bringing something new to the game, right? Yeah, like it's kind of reminded me when you said like Andrew Schultz, who did like. Just something crazy. He made it like to a wrestling show basically. This guy had like an announcer. He like came out in a cape and everything. You know, it was crazy. But yeah, I've seen a lot of comedians these days just like change it up the game. And those are 3 like great comedians. I'm gonna throw them up behind us and everything so we can show them out here. And I already knew about Dave Minhaj and Dino, but I need to look up Ola.
Man, he's a confidant, man. He's a good guy. Good guy in common. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that's been a long podcast, man.
Yeah, it's great, man. I feel like it's only been 3 minutes, man.
Inshallah, we might be able to do this again in the future.
100%.
You know, do you have a? I know you're filming, but do you have a special that's going to be coming out anytime soon?
Honestly, I hope so. I hope someday we get to the special. At this moment now, we're just pumping content, exhausting the reach, and just like trying to get people to be familiar, trying to inshallah become.
And this will be coming out Thursday this coming, so your show won't be happening yet.
Yeah,
so
come to his show, guys.
Yeah, December 2nd and 3rd, right?
December 2nd. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're sold out.
Oh my God.
Are you actually?
Nah, we're sold out. We're pretty much sold out, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, never mind.
There's a few tickets, but I'm thinking about doing a third show on a Sunday. Do you think people will come to a third show on a Sunday?
Yeah, like how late can it be? It's like what, 7, 9 p.m.
Yeah, we'll do probably like 7 p.m. or
Yeah,
something like
fine.
that.
Yeah,
could be up there, man. If you guys see it on Wednesday, if you guys see this on Thursday, then there might be a show on Sunday.
Yeah, so just check it out. December 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, maybe.
Potentially.
He'll have a comedy show, so you can go ahead to his Instagram page, which I'll throw up, and check it out. And outside of that, is there anything else you want to say?
Man, no, thanks for having me, man. This was fun. This is a podcast again where a lot of things were said without saying. Is what we were talking about? Like,
goes without saying.
Yeah, a lot of things that go without saying, and it's seamless, man. I enjoyed your company, man, and the shy and the timbits.
You already know. But yeah, but thanks again, guys, for listening. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow Hasan Feels.
Hasan
Feels follow Hasan on Hasan Feels on Instagram, and follow us on Instagram and all other platforms. And thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. What's the origin of that name? It's a play on words?
I was actually, when I first made Instagram, I was living in Waterloo, Kitchener, Waterloo, and one of my roommates, he's like, he's an Egyptian guy named Salim. He was studying, I don't know,
like engineering,
software engineering, something like that.
That's what it is.
And he's a very funny guy. Yeah, not street smart at all.
Yeah,
but very brilliant. In when it comes to mathematics and stuff like that. And he had he loved battle rapping for some reason. That's something I just remember. He loved battle rapping video. He'd send me, to this day, maybe he might even send me like a battle rap video like that. You know? And so one day he just goes, Hassan, Phils? Like, what kind of last name is that?
Yeah.
I said, I don't even know, man. And he goes, feeling myself. And that was the first time, maybe I was 18 years old, and nobody has ever said that.
So I was just straight up like that. You're like, feeling myself. Just
Start
Instagram right away.
This is it, man. Feeling myself. Let's get out.
Wait, so there were 6 other feeling myself before that? It was original thought?
No, there was, I was getting like, Hassan fills the buckets, or has like
what?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because I was playing ball, and Hassan fills the bucket, or HP sauce, Hassan HP sauce.
Yeah, you're playing around, but then you're like, once you heard feeling myself, you're like, this is it.
But that's the rule, man. You can't give yourself a nickname, right?
Yes.
So you gotta give you one.
Exactly.
I wasn't gonna be like, yo, call me this.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on mine. Y'all didn't give me nothing. I'm just saying. Okay. Amiro. That's the most.
Yeah, you have Amir was taken. That's just.
Oh, that's not a nickname though. That's like a
basically what you're known as though.
Okay, whatever. But, yeah. So you know what? Let's get back into your origin story there. So where do you hail from? What's your spawn point?
Like where I was born and raised.
Exactly.
I was born and raised in Scarborough.
No, you're
actually no. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Come on.
I was born in the West End, West End and Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right, and then my mom was like, I think. One thing I realized actually when I got older, all the Habeshas, like East Africans, like Habesha East Africans are in the East End, right? And so my mom was like, when we started out, we were in the West End for like 1 year, and my mom said, "Yeah, man, this is getting
no, but honestly,
crazy, man." A year later, we moved to
that's how it was. Like even for us, like we're from the Harari community, Ethiopian community, whatever. A lot of us started out, or at least a lot of families started out in like Jamestown area. Like the little bit of we didn't.
No, we started.
I know a lot of people who started like
I
in
knew it was
Jamestown
wrong,
area,
yeah.
like that area,
Mhm.
and then once they heard all the boys were in the East End, they're like, "Yo, we're pulling up."
They're going to
You know?
these, yeah.
Everybody went to Teesdale.
That's what it was, man. It's like yeah, man. Teesdale was like not like an eclectic group of like East Africans as well.
Yeah.
They have like Sudanese,
Mhm.
a lot of Ethiopians, but even then it gets tribal or whatever. And
Yeah.
it breaks down, but big difference.
But
And then,
you're half Djiboutian. Djiboutian?
Djiboutian.
Yeah.
My mother's born, raised Djibouti.
Yeah.
And then back and forth from Djibouti to Deldoa and then
Okay.
Addis and then
Yeah. We probably low-key have like family who knows each
we
other.
probably
I actually have family who lives in Djibouti. Like my dad's sister lives in Djibouti.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's why we'd always go back and forth, or at least he would go back and forth as a child to all across Ethiopia, but mainly Djibouti as well. Because it's right there, right?
It's right there, man.
Like we're from Harar, which is, and you already know.
I know,
Harar
yeah,
is,
yeah.
right? So that's literally like I think a 2-hour drive or something like not even something like that. It's like across the border.
Closer to Diderdo, I think.
Yeah, it is closer, and that's where my family is staying right now in Diderdo.
Yeah.
So you know a lot of us already. You probably,
Yeah, I'm quite familiar, man.
Yeah.
I tried out for the Harari soccer team, man.
Listen, the festival's happening again next
Exactly. I'm
month.
just saying, man.
Pull up.
You definitely have to have a show around that time. Still. I'm telling you. Literally, you'll have every Harari person
Exactly.
in
Do
the
it.
world.
When is that tournament?
Like July 1st, July 2nd, around that time.
Oh, wow.
I know it's a busy season for y'all.
Not really.
Not really?
Summertime is a hard time to do stand-up comedy
Is
or
it?
produce comedy shows.
Yeah.
Just because you're competing with a lot of events, right?
Yeah.
First of all, there's weddings.
Yeah.
You know, then there's outdoor events.
Yeah.
Music festivals, parties, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Like, but the wintertime, fall is
Yeah.
like an
This is
ideal
your
time.
season.
Yeah, this is where most people go on tour, or they'll tour throughout the city, throughout the year. But like that's like everybody's looking for something to do indoors.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, as opposed to being
Okay.
outside.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Me
It makes
I-
sense now.
Thought about it. I just thought about it like
Yeah.
I'm in year 5 right now of comedy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
4, and I'm like, oh damn.
That was gonna be my question there. So like, you see, actually, we're probably jumping ahead here, but you
I
were
know.
so you're born in Scarborough. You're born in the West End, but you
Mhm.
moved to Scarborough like a smart kid.
Yeah.
And then you how long were you in Scarborough? Because I know that you also moved to the West End, or
Yeah.
like when I say West End, I mean like Western Canada.
Yeah, like Western Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I lived in Scarborough up until I was about 17, 18.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Pickering for 1 year.
Mhm.
And after that, I went to I moved to Waterloo for a year, and then
Yeah.
when I was 19, turning 20, that's when I
Oh,
just
so it was
like
pretty late. Like you moved to the West.
yeah. By the time I was like
Personal.
by the time I was like 18, 17,
Mhm.
I was vagabonding, just like picking
Yeah.
up my bag and saying, okay, I'm gonna go here.
Yeah.
Let's see how long I stay here, and then the next place,
Mhm.
and the next place.
And I was gonna say the reason you were moving around initially was because you were playing ball, no?
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing that professionally.
I was doing post-secondary, so like I
Yeah.
was getting
Oh, okay.
scholarship. I was applying for scholarships and getting athletic ones, some academic,
Mhm.
and then bursaries. You could apply for anything really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I moved to Vancouver. I said, oh man, because I realized I wanted to. I'm gonna go through school regardless.
Mhm.
You know, I might as well like enjoy the experience at that. So I was like, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go and all my friends were going east, like to like New Brunswick, Prince
Oh.
Edward Island,
Mhm.
and if they were gonna go west, they'd only go as far as Edmonton,
Yeah.
and Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary.
Yeah.
I was like, man, what the hell's out here? And then I went out there for a visit.
Yeah.
I was there for about like a week, and I was like, yo, this is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I see why people want to keep it a secret, man.
Yeah. You
And
didn't,
then
you didn't feel like not ostracized, but like different out there? Because I know I've been to Vancouver a few times now. It's definitely not very melanated.
it isn't. Yeah, Vancouver is not a melanated city, but I think one thing I learned going out there
Yeah.
and realizing that is just you have to like it brought confidence and still confidence in myself that I could be whoever I am, I am, wherever I am.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter. I think there's a lot of people in cities that are just not highly melanated or whatever, and they'll be like, "Whoa, woe is me. There's not. I can't be myself because there's not." And I realized, man, I'm that nigga. You can put me in freaking Russia, man. I'll be that guy. Hey, shout out to Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Oh, not Greta Thunberg. Sorry, the WNBA player that's trying.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Actually, I'm gonna do something here.
I have no idea.
Brittany Griner, man.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Shout out to Brittany Griner, man.